I get a lot of video requests. They're not all created equal, but some ideas come up more often than others. One of the more popular suggestions is for a tier list ranking every possible brawler loadout. It's not a bad idea, but it's a lot less interesting than it sounds. Brawler has 81 possible combinations of his custom moves. While you'd think ranking them all would be a massive headache, it boils down to this. Up here, we've got the 3 top tier loadouts used by nearly every good brawler. Oh, for the record, these numbers represent the moveset by the number of the special move. Neutral, side, up, and down special respectively. Anyways, below those 3 you've got 5 good ones, 4 okay ones, a dozen questionable ones, and then the rest are down here. Of the 81 available custom moveset combinations, 54 of them are completely irrelevant. What's holding them back? Well, it varies, but they all share one fatal flaw. None of them end in the number 2, meaning none of them have the single most important special in Mii Brawler's kit. Feint Jump. Feint Jump is one of Brawler's 3 choices for a down special, but we're really stretching the definition of choice here. Sure, on paper, Brawler has 2 other options, but in a tournament setting, Feint Jump is the only one that's even remotely viable. I've covered counter throw in the past, and believe me, I'll get to you. But just know that Feint Jump outclasses both of them, and it's not close. Looking at it, it's obvious that it's based off Zero Suit Samus's Flip Jump, which is potentially the single best move in the game for escaping disadvantage. When you're stuck in a situation where the opponent has a positional advantage over you, having options to escape disadvantage, whether that means getting down from a juggle or out of the corner, is a necessity for any fighter. Zero Suit's Flip Jump is good at this for a number of reasons. It's fast, makes her invincible for half of it, and if the opponent doesn't respect its range, they run the risk of getting buried, which usually means death. Mii Brawler's Feint Jump is much more reined in. Compared to Flip Jump, Feint Jump has almost no invincibility and over twice as much landing lag. Despite the downgrade, it's still vital to Brawler's disadvantage state. Without it, Brawler effectively gives up the ability to recover. That's not an exaggeration. Without burning dropkick or Feint Jump, Mii Brawler may have the single worst recovery in Smash Ultimate. His fast falling speed basically guarantees his death anytime he's hit off stage more than once, and sometimes even that's overkill. So yeah, Feint Jump is basically mandatory. It might sound lame to be strong-armed into running a specific move, but when a player base is forced into a situation, they tend to get creative. And boy, can you get creative with Feint Jump.
Oh, that's what?
Get Fire to take it to 1.
A commonality between both ZSS and Brawler's down Bs is the inclusion of a kick attack, performed by pressing A while in the jump. With ZSS, it's the stationary spike that's good for kill confirms, but Brawler's attack is this foot dive. Brawler's kick doesn't spike. That would be insane. But it does have something weird going on with its launch angles. If the opponent is grounded when they're hit by Feint Jump, it'll send upwards at a slant. But if the opponent is airborne, then the kick sends out and also gets a lot stronger. This makes kicking into the stage a fine choice, but kicking away from it a really lucrative one. Luckily, Brawler can choose to kick left or right by holding the stick in either direction. So if Brawler manages to get behind the opponent with a sneaky Feint Jump, and the opponent happens to jump, well... Also unique about Feint Jump Kick is its movement and activity. Let's go back to ZSS's kick for a second. While the spike is powerful, it's not active for very long, only staying out for 4 frames. Feint Jump, on the other hand, lasts over 3 times as long. And thanks to the dive kick, it covers a huge area too. This is one of the few places where Feint Jump Kick is actually better than its counterpart. Where Flip Jump is designed to evade edge guards, Feint Jump Kick can shove into them, forcing the opponent to be more cautious about when they go off stage. However, it's important to stay aware of the opponent's position. Feint jump kick has a huge amount of landing lag, even more than it does landing normally. So kicking without considering the possibility of a whiff punish is just asking for trouble. As a result, most brawlers will opt to kick under the stage, rather than onto it. This does still carry a risk, but not the kind that serves your stock up on a silver platter. Sometimes, Brawler will find himself in a disadvantaged state where it's pretty clear the opponent is looking out for feint kick. Even if Brawler decides to use down B without kicking, there's enough end lag for the opponent to have more than enough time to respond. So both routes are liable to keep Brawler in disadvantage, if not just kill him. What if I said there was another option? Not a kick or a non-kick, but a secret third thing.
Oh, no!
No way! Feint jump has an auto kick attack that triggers if the game detects an opponent underneath Brawler. There's no universal name for it, but I've taken to calling it feint stomp. Looking at it on the surface, it's nothing too special. It's a weak spike with no follow-ups on hit. But this thing is deceptively useful, both offensively and defensively. The obvious use case is offstage, spiking a recovering opponent. Sometimes, when Brawler and his opponent are both trying to get back on stage, it can be smart to recover with feint jump. If Brawler gets to the ledge first, then feint stomp will spike. But what happens if the opponent beats him there? Fighters gain invincibility when they grab the ledge, so it seems like the spike wouldn't activate. It does. Feint stomp's only checking to see if someone's below Brawler, not if they're invincible. So in these situations, it'll just activate and whiff. But why bother with feint stomp if it won't hit? Well, feint stomp has much less end lag than kicking, so it's better for recovering and escaping. Hell, if Brawler's off stage without a double jump, an invincible stomp may be the only way to live in edgeguard. Feint stomp is still laggy enough to be punishable on shield, but the faster animation makes it much harder to react to. If the opponent isn't ready to respond, Brawler can capitalize on this with a landing nair, which can lead to some very sudden stocks. Segue. Feint jump is a recovery move. However, it doesn't just have to be used for getting back on stage. And if anything, that narrow reputation can give it the element of surprise. One of Brawler's strongest positions is right here. In this position, most opponents will want to press a button and return to the ground. But Brawler usually has a very strong response to this habit. As a result, more experienced players will opt to do anything but fall straight down when they expect an upbeat. Brawler can chase down some of these options by double jumping, but if the other character is floaty, it can be tricky to get within striking distance. If only there were some other way for Brawler to gain height! Instead of letting them get out of the situation, use feint jump. If they jump away, it'll look like a missed air dodge callout, but after the jump finishes, you'll still be in position to upbeat. And if they do air dodge, well, that air dodge callout's not looking so missed anymore, is it? Of course, the natural response to Brawler gracefully closing the gap is to attack. And if you don't watch out, it can lead to some embarrassing deaths. Speaking from experience. But I'm sure you can guess what beats an opponent that's fighting down. Admittedly, it's pretty easy to tell that feint jump is being used weirdly here. I mean, what else is he gonna do? But there are many more situations where its offense hides in plain sight. Here's a recent example. In this clip, it's the deciding game, and I am down by a lot. I kick Toon Link off stage, and he takes the time to pull a bomb. I kick him off stage again, he throws his current bomb, and pulls out another. Okay, at this point, it doesn't seem like he's scared of being off stage. In fact, it almost seems like he wants to be off stage, because the next time he's pushed even slightly off, he recognizes that he's in Brawler's up B zone and purposefully moves even further out. I follow him, facing away, which is meant to threaten a back air. But when we both go to use our double jumps, it's clear I won't be able to reach him. So I instead move to recover with feint jump. At least, that's what it looks like to him. It looks like I'm cutting my losses after missing my edgeguard. I've done this kind of feint jump maybe 100 times across dozens of sets, and I'm literally right above the ledge. I'm using my recovery move to recover. This could not look more innocent. So naturally...
Oh my god! The FireThePyro! What? Balls of tungsten!
Go fuck yourself, Jonas. I am not playing a 28-minute set against you just to go down like a fucking chump. It feels like if Pitch Brawler's whole moveset is edgeguarding tools on this channel. But to be entirely clear, I'm not endorsing this. This is really risky. Insanely fun for sure. But for every time I've landed something like this, there's at least 10 times where I died a hamster's death for charging in without thinking. Even with all its offensive utility, it's still not something to be spammed with zero repercussions. I can't state that enough. At the end of the day, Feint Jump is best used for safe, responsible recoveries. Going high and skipping the ledge. Going low to outmaneuver attacks. Stuff like that. Feint Jump isn't a Mii Brawler staple because its player base necessarily likes it. It's because its intended purpose fills a role that no other move can. Which is why everything we've talked about is so great. Feint Jump is meant to be a reliable recovery tool with an attack slapped on, not a move of psychological warfare. But the great thing about Smash is there are multitudes of ways to use the same move for different reasons. Feint Jump Kick isn't just an attack, it's also my method of transport for comboing shot put into up B. Diddy's rocket barrels aren't just a recovery move, they're also an incredible way to break Steve's blocks. Duck Hunt's projectiles aren't just for zoning, they're also a way to slow down recoveries for an easier spike. Do you see what I mean? Moves are more than just their intended purpose. All it takes is one creative player for it to be used in a whole new way. So, get creative. Find interesting ways to use attacks, practice them, study them, and bring them to the table next time you turn the game on. They may not be useful every game, but when the time comes, players will come to fear and respect your secret weapon.